Hello and welcome to Odds on Champions League, last 16 rounds, second leg. Passionate, of course, about the games we have this week, especially Liverpool, PSG, or Atletico de Madrid, Real Madrid. We saw some surprises last week, and we have many more to come, probably. Alain, Valnegri, Ronan Murphy. Hello, guys. Let's analyze everything we saw last week and everything that we are going to see this week. So, guys, stay with us. Of course, press the like if you enjoy our videos. And now let's go on with the show. Well, we had some surprises last week, and I would say that Benfica Barcelona was also a surprise because we expected plenty of goals, and we only saw one goal scored by Rafinha. Barcelona suffered a lot. Actually, the best player in the pitch was 𝐬𝐭𝐴. 𝗀𝗵cie was sent off, as you all know. So they've played twice this week, and in both games, Barcelona won. But suffering, the big question, I guess, is if the tie is still open. Alain, if you see problems for Barcelona, actually, I don't know how are the squad mentally, because the doctor passed away, died in the hotel before the game against Osasuna, a game that was postponed. So perhaps all these things might affect the players and the atmosphere in the dressing room.
Yes, it's a really sad news because he was really near to the player. Now, I think Flick is a manager who is working really well with the head of the player. We saw that since the beginning of the season, a lot of positivity. He bring back a style of football disappeared in Barcelona. Everybody are really happy with Flick, with tactical management. Psychological approach management, I think, is very good. I don't feel Barca will be suffer about that. My biggest doubt is the system Benfica will be used in this game, because last game in Liga NOS they play with 3 center back, and Benfica must to take risk. If they want to pass the eliminate to Barcelona, and that one is a good point for Barcelona because team open against Barca, we know that they're normally suffer, but in the first leg I was really wrong with my prediction. I follow thinking it will be a game with goal. I choose Benfica winning with handicap +2, odds 1.91.
Okay, so you win your bet if Benfica lose by one goal, or if they draw, or if they win. For instance, even you get money back if they lose by 2 goals margin, because Barcelona are really favorites, 1.37. Ronan, do you give any options to Benfica? Because this is a positive team that beat Monaco and made Barcelona suffer twice this season.
They did, but I think the one goal advantage will kind of help Barcelona, will give them confidence going into this match. They know Benfica obviously have to come back and score a couple of times, and we have seen them score a couple of times against Barcelona, but equally we've seen Barcelona score so many goals. And I think that the sad news that Barcelona had the weekend, you were asking, Alain, would it affect the team? And I think it might affect the team in a positive. Like, obviously it's terrible news, but I think on the pitch it will affect the team in a positive light. I think they will obviously be looking to pay tribute to him. They will do everything they can to progress in the Champions League. They will have him at the back of their minds at all times, because it's such a sad development at the club. And yeah, it is something that that will kind of overshadow this game in a way. There will be moment silence. Obviously they had in training, they kind of all gathered together, and this will be an emotional game for them, and I think they will turn that emotion into a good performance. And I think what we were expecting from the first match with plenty of goals, perhaps we could see that here in this game. We could see Barcelona score. They're used to scoring. They've scored so many goals so far this season, averaging 3.2 goals per game. So I think this is a match where they should score plenty of goals. And Stephen Boyle are in the comments is saying under 3.5, but I'm going against that. I think Benfica and Barcelona can both score in this match, so both teams to score yes is a good one at 160. But if you look at Barcelona's recent games, 4 of their last 6 games have had 4 or more total goals. So, obviously, the first leg in this one didn't, but I think this one will. I think this one can be a high-scoring affair. Barcelona will progress, and they will get lots of goals in this one. So total goals over 3.5 at 191 is my tip.
Well, we expected plenty of goals in the first leg, indeed, even with 𝗀𝗵cie sent off. The hero, again, was the goalkeeper. 𝐬𝐿𝐴 actually was also Flick's choice, so another positive thing for Flick this season to choose 𝐬𝐿𝐴 when he was already smoking by the beach in Marbella and now doing a great job with Barcelona. Well, Barça-Benfica, really favorites. The Catalan team. Next game, Leverkusen, Bayern Munich. Someone was saying that it was a weird weekend in the Bundesliga. Oh my God, especially this Bayern Munich Bochum, when you are leading 2-0, I don't know how much the bookies could pay for Bochum to come back. Ronan, of course, we were not correct in our tips, also with Leverkusen losing. Everyone has the mind in this game in the Champions League, but this tie is also almost over with the 3-0. Bayern Munich was way better in the first leg with Harry Kane and Olise shining. So the big question mark also, Ronan, is if there is some hope for Leverkusen, if they actually play with a number 9 and if they score first, if there could be a window of opportunity or the experience, of course, of Bayern makes this completely over.
Yeah, I think all hope for Bayer Leverkusen kind of went out the window after a few minutes at the weekend. They were losing to Bremen. They sent Florian Wirtz on, and Florian Wirtz went off injured. So if he misses this game, they have no hope. They have absolutely no hope. They, like you said, they didn't play a forward in the last game. They didn't have a recognised number 9. Patrick Schick came back into the team at the weekend. I spoke in the Bundesliga preview of Victor Boniface. He's kind of problems at not being a regular starter at the moment, and Schick couldn't score against Bremen. And what do you do with a problem like two forwards who are unhappy or not scoring? And when you need 3 goals against your biggest rivals, it's not really going to happen when you don't have your star creator either. So that defeat at the weekend for Bayer Leverkusen was Xabi Alonso's first time that he suffered back-to-back defeats as Bayer Leverkusen manager. The first time in 2 years actually it's happened, and he hasn't lost 3 before, so that would be a first if he was to lose three matches in a row as Bayer Leverkusen manager. But you wouldn't be surprised if it happens here, despite Bayern Munich's disastrous performance with 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐳 getting sent off when they were winning 2-1 and they lost 3-2 to Bochum, which seemed unthinkable. That even 10 men Bayern you would expect to beat Bochum. So, that is not one that they will want to remember. But luckily, they're still 8 points clear in the Bundesliga, so it's not going to change too much here. I think this could be an open game because these teams tend to score plenty of goals when they play in all competitions. Both teams to score yes could be a good option. 160. Both teams to score yes has happened in 32% of Leverkusen's first half this season. I think this could be another one to add to it. I think this could be a match where Leverkusen look to come out of the blocks early, but Bayern Munich obviously like scoring goals too. Leverkusen tend to be open at the back sometimes, and Bayern Munich have someone other than Manuel Neuer in goal. They've used 4 goalkeepers already this season. So Jonas Orбig, he's a new signing in January. He made his first ever start for Bayern Munich at the weekend against Bochum, and he conceded 3 goals. So it's not really the Manuel Neuer succession plan they have in mind. So I'm going to go for this one being both teams to score yes game, but even more so than that, both teams to score yes in the first half.
Well, Bayern Leverkusen have to attack with everything. We have Rai going for Bayern to win, Bayern Munich, both teams to score. For Stephen, Alain, Bayern Leverkusen to qualify is 24. The bookies are paying that. I guess is not in the cards. Look, even at Bayern Leverkusen win, the odds are super high, 2.8.
Yes, don't bet your house about Bayer Leverkusen past the round. Now, I have a lot of doubt about Bayern. I think in the first leg we saw the baddest version of Leverkusen and not the best version of Bayern. And I don't understand what happened. Maybe the experience, simply with the Champions League. But in general, I prefer Bayer Leverkusen than Bayern. Since 2 seasons, I think Leverkusen, when they played against Bayern, is better team. And we saw last season, we saw this year, because we remember Leverkusen won against Bayern in Pokal in German Cup too. And now we must to trust about Leverkusen. In the last turn in Bundesliga, they lose against Werder Bremen. All the staff in Leverkusen was scared about Wirst, but I think it's not a hard injury for the young German talent. Now, in my opinion, Leverkusen don't will be lose 2 games consecutive against Bayern. For that reason, I choose double opportunity Leverkusen 1x odds 1.60.
Well, and the best game we have on Tuesday, no doubts. I'm very open, of course, is Liverpool PSG. Probably if Liverpool play like in the Parc des Princes, they will go out on Tuesday because they were the worst team, very, very lucky in many circumstances, and also with a great keeper, of course, like Alisson. But this PSG, Alain, is kind of the second time that this issue happened to them. We saw it last season with Borussia Dortmund, this time again with Liverpool, and some people are saying that it's not luck when things get done one season after the other. Is this lack of experience of cutting edge in the big games? Are PSG ready to take over Anfield in your mind? Can they make it?
Yes, in my opinion, yes. In the first leg, the superiority in the game, in the content of Paris Saint-Germain was a big surprise, because without Alisson, if the game finished with a victory 3-1 for Paris Saint-Germain, nobody allowed a scandal. And Luis Enrique prepared really well this team. This team play one of the most beautiful football in Europe right now. I am not fan about Paris Saint-Germain, but we must to admit that in the game, in the content, the team is brilliant, because the model of play is in the head of the player, and in the field we saw in Ligue 1 an average of goal between 3 or 4 goals per game since the beginning of the year. And now the team must to unlock itself. Sometimes you have that problem with really young player, when the competition when the importance of the game is a final and is a key game. Sometimes the young player suffer the pressure, and I think it was that one in the first leg. Now the team must to play free in Anfield. And what we can wait about Paris Saint-Germain? A team don't change nothing respect to the first game. In my opinion, Paris Saint-Germain don't will be stay another game without scoring, and there will be catch a positive results. I choose double opportunity x2 odds 1.69.
Well, only 𝗀𝗵𝐿 was able to score, but the goal was disallowed. The bookies give very little options to PSG. Ronan is 4.3 to qualify, 1.2 for Liverpool to qualify. But what we saw in the Parc des Princes is PSG being the best team, that's for sure.
Yeah, it felt for me watching it at times, it was a bit like watching Ireland play matches, because we're usually the team that defend for 80 minutes against the opposition. Unfortunately, we never score late in the matches to get a 1-0 win. We've actually conceded the 3 goals. So it will be 3-0 at that stage. But yeah, it just felt like one of those matches where you were just waiting for PSG to score. And then they never did. And they had plenty of chances, but Alisson was incredible. He said himself after the match it was the best game he ever played in his life. So yeah, it was one of those games, and you kind of wonder, can they do it again? But like some of our commenters had said, will Liverpool play like this at Anfield? And I know Liverpool always raised their game at Anfield. There was statistics about Virgil van Dijk's record at Anfield. He's played 115 games and he's only lost 3 of them there in the league at Anfield. So will they raise their game? But will PSG allow them to raise their game? Because PSG play anywhere close to the way they played last week, they wouldn't allow anybody to raise the game anywhere because they were just utterly dominant for such large parts of that match. And we saw that again at the weekend. They won 4-1 against Rennes in the league. So they obviously were able to turn back on the shooting boots that they couldn't turn on at the weekend. Dembele scored twice off the bench in stoppage time. Barcola and Ramos scored as well. So the players that they need to score scored again at the weekend. So they need to score those players to score again here. So I think PSG can get goals in this match. I don't think Alisson will keep another clean sheet. PSG have scored 3 or more goals in 5 of their last 6 games. Obviously, the only one they didn't was that game last week against Liverpool. So, yeah, PSG are a team that tend to score a lot of goals. They've scored in both halves in 46% of their games. They have over 3.5 goals in 50% of their games this season. This team score lots of goals, so I can't see them not scoring again. Ousmane Dembele, like I said, he came off the bench to score twice at the weekend. He can do it again here. He's 20 goals already in 2025. So Ousmane Dembele, I went for it last week. It didn't come true. I'm going for it again this week. Ousmane Dembele to score or assist 220 looks pretty good. He doesn't get a lot of assists, but maybe he might in this one. But if he scores or assists, it's a good option. PSG to win could be another one to win in 90 minutes. It was 295 last night when I looked at it. It's up to 3 on our screen at the moment. PSG to win is 3, but I'm just going full hell for leather and believing PSG, if they play anywhere near like they played last week, I cannot see them being knocked out by Liverpool, despite the history of PSG being knocked out again and again in the Champions League. This PSG team, I have not seen a team play as well as this in the Champions League in years. PSG to qualify is my tip.
Wow. It's a big task to win at Anfield. As Rajiv is telling us, Anfield is a fortress for Liverpool. Viper is telling us, also Man Spaghetti, saying that Liverpool dictates the game at Anfield, not PSG, so Liverpool to win. Let's see if we see a different game than the one seen at the Parc des Princes or not, because actually Liverpool defending will go through, but they have to improve what they did this season. They've beaten the champions of France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. Actually, Liverpool, all of them 2-0, but still there were some doubts about their performance in Paris. Let's see what happens in this great Liverpool PSG, much more chill. Next one, Inter Feyenoord 2-0 for Inter. I think we mentioned already last week how Inter were really favorites for this tie, way better than Feyenoord, and they show it despite the first minutes where Feyenoord pushed a little bit more. Ronan, it was easy peasy for Inter. I think we saw again at the weekend the big gap in this squad from the 11 players that play always with Simone Inzaghi and the others, especially I think when Arnautovic is in the pitch, you should back the rival of Inter. Is not going to be the case in this game, so we should back Inter with Thuram and Lautaro in front.
Yes, you can, because that's exactly who scored at the first game. And I think myself and Alain were saying that we didn't expect too many goals from Feyenoord because Inter's defence has been so good. And we saw that in the first half. They weathered the storm early on in the first leg. And then that was it. They shut up shop and they score goals. And that's what Inter do. They've won their last 6 home games. They're undefeated in 5 matches. And Feyenoord recently, they haven't won any of their last 6 away games. They've only scored 4 times in those 6 away games. And they brought in a new head coach who's known for being a scoring hero himself back in the day, Robin van Persie. But in the 2 matches that he's been in charge, Feyenoord haven't scored. So, yeah, going to Inter and looking to score is always going to be a tricky one because We saw in the league phase, they were the best team defensively. They only conceded 1 goal in the league phase. And because of that record, they've still only conceded 1 goal in the Champions League so far. There's injury doubts for Feyenoord. 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗲𝗀, the goalkeeper, captain Quentin Timber, were maybe are expected to miss out. They are injury doubts at the moment, so we'll see what happens with them. They will be 2 big losses for the team. Ibrahim Osman is suspended after picking up his 3rd yellow card in the competition, so Feyenoord won't be at full strength. Inter, like you said, were able to rest some key players, so they'll be going into this one kind of with most of their first 11 still intact. So I think Inter can shut up shop early in this one, keep a clean sheet from the start. Inter clean sheet is 191, but if you double down on that, Inter have 1-0 7 times already in 2025. They could make it 8 here. So Inter to win 2-0 is 220.
Okay, Alain, no room for surprises for this Inter, always really reliable.
Yes, he's one of, in my opinion, in this Champions League, probably is the team managed better the phase without the ball, because they received only 1 goal since the beginning of the Champions League. Now, Inter depend a lot of the grade of motivation. Next Sunday, we have Atalanta-Inter. And for Inter, is more important, in my opinion, the game in Bergamo, because in the case of their win in Bergamo, Atalanta is out of the Scudetto. And I wait a big turnover of Inter, because last game in Serie A, Simone Inzaghi play with 9 fixed player. He don't do a turnover, because I think he will make the turnover tomorrow. And against this Feyenoord with 11 injured player, in this moment Feyenoord will be play with the second team, because they have really important player outside, like Timber, like Calvin Stengs. And it's not a friendly game, because it is a 18 final in Champions League. But in my opinion, Inter will be with the normally grade of motivation. Feyenoord, the objective of Feyenoord is be back to the champions, and there must to work in Eredivisie, because they have 5 points down to Utrecht, who mark the line of the Champions League spot. For me, I see both teams to score in this game. Odds 2.10.
Okay, the opposite. Alain sees both teams to score turnover for Simone Inzaghi. Not sure if Arnautovic is on the pitch, of course, back somehow Feyenoord, and Ronan sees comfortable win for Inter. Feyenoord not scoring also for 𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗀, Viper, very solid team. Inter, I guess they don't want any surprises. Well, let's go to the games we have on Wednesday. The tie that is really, really open, really uncertain is Lille Borussia Dortmund. Actually, if we check the odds for to qualify, for the market to qualify, pays exactly the same, 1.9 on both, on either direction. And the thing is that I was a bit disappointed, Alain, by the game played by Borussia Dortmund. I think we expected much more, especially in the second half. Lille controlled the game pretty well, and they were able to score that equalizer by Haraldsson. Lille also won at the weekend. Dortmund lost, and this is not a surprise, in the Bundesliga. How do you see? Because this is so open, and we have Alain, our league analyst, and Ronan, our Bundesliga analyst. So let's say, who are you backing, guys? Alain?
In my opinion, Dortmund have something more, because when do you arrive to this stage in Champions, a game in or out, normally the experience make the difference. And Lille have more pressure, in my opinion, right now, because they do a really good game in Dortmund. It was a surprise, and is an illustration about the Champions League in Lille. In Ligue 1, especially away, we don't saw that version of Lille. And in my opinion, probably Wednesday, Lille will be super a little the pressure. And Dortmund, the season is really negative of Dortmund, but when we check the results in Champions, is not a bad Champions for Dortmund. And the experience will be make the difference is probably a game can be going to the penalty or to the extra time. And in my opinion, Dortmund will be classified, and I choose Dortmund classify odds 1.91.
Dortmund to qualify. Actually, Viper is also telling us that this game could easily go to penalties. Ronan, is also your idea that it's going to be very tight?
Yeah, I think it will be, and I hope it doesn't go to penalties for Dortmund's sake, because I wouldn't have any faith in any of the Dortmund players stepping up in a crucial moment to score a penalty. I think they could step up in the match itself over the 90 or 120 minutes, but maybe not in the penalty shootout, because this team are the very opposite to mentality monsters. They've been the very opposite to mentality monsters for years and years now. Obviously, remember the draw against Mainz on the last day of the season when they just needed to win the Bundesliga a couple of years ago. But yeah, they couldn't do it. So this team, they are terrible. Marco Reus said it a few years ago, the mentality stuff, but he used a harder word and stuff that maybe it's too early in the day for using swear words. But yeah, this Dortmund team, another disappointing result at the weekend, but it was a close game in that one. Lille won a close game themselves at the weekend, so I'm predicting another close game here, but a close game that can be decided by one of the Champions League's top goal scorers. Stephen Boyle in the comments has said 𝐻𝐵 trying to score one more time, so he has 10 goals in 11 games this season. So anytime goal score in 11 Champions League games, anytime goal scorer for 𝐻𝐵, again 293. He can get another goal because he needs to be the man to step up in the crucial moment for Borussia Dortmund. Maybe if they do go to penalties, I would have faith in him scoring one. Maybe not some of the other players, Emre Can perhaps, but yeah, not 𝐻𝐵, or he should score in this match maybe during the 90 minutes if they are to get something from this game and go through. So I like to look at him. Total goals market for over 2.5 goals and under 2.5 goals is nearly the same, like you said, as the to qualify market. It's kind of level. So I don't know I don't know how many goals will this be in this game, because it should be a very tight game. So I'm going to steer clear of the total goals market, and I'm going to go for the same as Alain, Dortmund to qualify.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you both agree, although here we see people not trusting Borussia Dortmund, 𝐻𝐵, Lille, draw no bet. I agree, the draw is a good option for Viper. I can't trust this Borussia Dortmund to win. For Tyson, this is really, really open, this Lille Borussia Dortmund. Next one is Aston Villa Bruges. Of course, here Aston Villa mega favorites. Bruges to qualify is 24. But we have to say that Aston Villa were very lucky, I would say. In Belgium, Bruges played a really good game. At the end of the day, they are very inexperienced and they made two stupid mistakes at the end of the game and they threw away basically the tie. So great Champions League for Aston Villa, Ronan, and I cannot see any other option apart from backing them. Probably this one. Unai Emery style, perhaps they keep it tight, but we are seeing a lot of goals this season with Aston Villa. It's not anymore this Unai Emery defensive team, so I don't think they will sit back and defend.
Yeah, I think our commenters are agreeing. Stephen, Viper, 𝗵𝐻𝐿 have all said that Bruges will score here, and I think they could. I think Bruges have been scoring a lot of goals themselves. Aston Villa, like you said, they're kind of a different style of a team that like to score goals. Marco Asensio should be back in this game after being injured at the weekend. Emilio Martinez the same. So I think this Bruges team is a team that can score against Aston Villa. To beat Cercle Bruges in the local derby 3-1 on Saturday. There was a great scene after the game where one of their players tried to plant a flag in the middle of the pitch, a bit like 𝐻𝐵 back in the day, but that started a bit of a melee in the middle of the pitch after that the home fans didn't want that to happen. So yeah, they should be definitely up for it. They've scored in each of their last 12 games. They can make it 13 here. This is a team that tend to score goals, Aston Villa too. So I think this could be another kind of entertaining match with some goals in it. Correct score, I like the look of for the first time in this episode. A 2-1 to Aston Villa is 9. I'd like to look at that one here, but I'm going to play it a bit safer and just say Aston Villa are going to win at 165.
Well, it was a great game, Alain, the one we saw in Belgium. I think we should emphasize the great Champions League both teams are doing. Of course, also Aston Villa. Probably they will continue in the competition, but also Bruges. And we have Stephen. I like Bruges to win, maybe even to advance. Bruges to score at least 1 goal. So everyone is kind of liking this Bruges that, by the way, they won a derby this weekend.
Yes. Yes, there won a derby with a lot of polemical at the end of the game. But I think the results about the first leg is a little liar, because we saw Bruges deserve something more in this game. But we know, and the importance of the details at this stage of the competition. Aston Villa, after the defeat in Crystal Palace, especially with the frequency of the pressure, the team changed something. And we saw that in Bruges, we saw that in Brentford, and the team defend better. You have more density, they don't concede so many shots, respect to 3 weeks ago. And that one is an adjust about Emery, and can be make the difference, but you lose something in offensive way, because you are not so creative. And Aston Villa don't must to push in this game. The match plan can be really conservative about Emery to classify. The most important is classify. You can lose with 1 goal difference without problem. And the next game is at the end of March, and Aston Villa can be work about that. Bruges is probably the last game of the competition. In one of the good news of this new format in Champions, they eliminate a team who is fighting to win the Italian Serie A. The objective of Bruges in Europe is value player. And right now we have 3, 4, 5 players will be go to the Premier League. And that one is the biggest news for Bruges, and try to win again the Jupiler Pro League. And that one will be difficult, because we saw Genk with 6 points in advantage respect to Bruges. In spite of that, I think Bruges will be do a good game, and don't will be lose with more than 2 goal difference. For that one, I choose Bruges 2 with the handicap +2 odds 1.50.
Okay, Genepi is going even for Bruges, Asian handicap +1, 1.88. So if they lose by 1 goal, you get your money back. Good odds to back Bruges somehow, despite the good numbers also with Aston Villa for Unai Emery also in the knockout competitions. He's a specialist, no matter, especially in the Europa League, but in all European competitions, his work is superb. Next game, let's go to Madrid. Another derby, Atletico de Madrid, Real Madrid. I have to say, guys, that I told you in the first leg, I said 2-0, was 2-1. Okay, I didn't consider the great goal scored by Julián Álvarez, but the experience was very important for Real Madrid in that game. Although it was very level, it was very tight. I think Real Madrid could regret the last chance that 𝐬𝗵𝗵 didn't assist properly to Vinicius. And at the weekend, we saw Atletico de Madrid losing, Real Madrid winning but not shining, actually suffering against Rayo Vallecano, with both thinking about this game, the Battle of the Metropolitano. Alain, they are calling it, is everything, absolutely everything for Atletico Madrid supporters to knock out the rivals in their stadium in this very tight margin with the great squad that Simeone has. But this is the Champions League, and Real Madrid know how to play in these tight margins, as we saw at the Bernabeu with this spark of lack of or quality we saw, for instance, with Brahim or Rodrigo.
Yes, the last week we saw, I said is a war of nerve, and with that point, I think Atletico is so nervous. We saw that yesterday in Getafe. A team with ambition to win the title, you can lose this game when you are in advantage to the minute 87. And Korea, I think, is an illustration about the tension leave the vestiary, because Atletico are making a brilliant season in every competition, but against Real Madrid is a debility of Atletico. Maybe you know that Atletico suffer more playing against Real Madrid than Football Club Barcelona. But in the history is like that, and it was the worst draw for Atletico Madrid to meet Real Madrid in the 18th of final. Now, when I imagine the game of Wednesday, I imagine a really electric ambient, and that electric ambient usually Atletico suffer that because the team is so nervous. It's so nervous, and Real Madrid normally known to play that type of game, and this in the last 10 years is plenty of European duel between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. And for that reason, I think Real Madrid is favorite for this game. I choose Real winning 𝐿𝐴 on 1.95.
What a calendar indeed for Atletico de Madrid. 𝗀𝗵ci telling us they are going to face Barcelona at the weekend, so they have at stake all the competitions. Ronan, people are going for cards, very intense. This could easily go to penalties. I kind of agree with all of them. Also, the bookies place Atletico de Madrid as slightly favorites for this game, but for the tie is Real Madrid really favorite. 3.9 Atletico to qualify.
Yeah, it seems very high for a match that's only kind of separated by one goal, and that team that are down by one goal are the team that are home. So yeah, you would imagine that Atletico have more chance than that. But like you both said, that Real Madrid kind of have this historical advantage over Atleti. It's kind of in the back of their minds at all times. It's like a shroud kind of, or a dark cloud kind of reigning over Atletico at all times, that Real Madrid are going to beat them. But yeah, Sai is saying that could be a bet looking at yellow cards, and that was one I looked at in the first leg, and it turned out that there wasn't any yellow cards at all. There was only one yellow card, I think, in the first leg. So yeah, this wasn't a heated affair we expected in the first leg, but maybe will turn into this, especially as things get really nervous towards the last few minutes of this match. This is a match I think both teams would be capable of scoring in, because the previous three meetings before the first leg were all 1-1 draws. Both teams to score yes has happened in each of the last 10 times that these two teams have played each other. So both teams to score yes looks a good option at 157, especially with so much on the line in this match. And if Atleti were to score early, puts lots of pressure on Real Madrid, or vice versa. You have to go back to May 2022 for an away win in this fixture. Real won 2-1 back in May 2022, so it's a few years since that happened. So that does give Atleti some sort of a chance. But if Real Madrid are to go through in this match, they need their star man to kind of put on a star man showing. And you mentioned the assist that he didn't give in the first leg, but he needs to kind of be a hero like we saw against Man City. He needs to take the game on his shoulders. And Kylian Mbappe in the Champions League this season, he has 7 goals and 1 assist in 11 games, but 3 of those goals were in one game. So he needs to deliver on a more consistent basis for Real Madrid in the Champions League if he does want to be a Ballon d'Or winner himself, because at the moment he's not in the conversation. You have other players kind of in the conversation, so he needs to score in big matches, and this is going to be a huge match. It's the biggest match of Real Madrid season so far. So I think Kylian Mbappe, he has to do it here. So no time like the present. Kylian Mbappe, anytime scorer, 2.65.
He's not playing well lately, actually, in the last 4 or 5 games, probably after Man City. And also Real Madrid are playing really bad, I think, since 𝐬𝐵 is out of the team. The team has been playing really, really bad. 𝐿𝐵𝐵𝐻 is not working in the midfield. We saw it in the first leg, and Modric, he cannot play all the minutes. So let's see who is playing with 𝐿𝐵𝐻. Bellingham, by the way, is back for this game after missing the first leg for suspension. And the last game, Arsenal PSV, very little, I think, to say here. I think is worse. It was the worst performance I've ever seen in the Champions League. What we saw with PSV in the first leg, we were commenting in this video that Arsenal had problems going forward. They don't have strikers. Well, they could have scored 10. Ronan, it was pitiful. I think they shouldn't be allowed to play even this game. How on earth can you play this bad, to be honest?
Yeah, I think the only thing that they want to do here, maybe PSV, is to save their blushes and not have the same thing happen again. You can't really see it happening again, because when our Arsenal got to score 7 and only one of those goals coming from an actual striker. So yeah, they're not going to do it again. And you saw Mikel Arteta asked at the weekend after the draw with Manchester United, should they have signed a striker, and he stormed out the interview on British television. So yeah, they still don't have that striker, but they don't need one for this. If they lost 5-0, they'd still go through. So yeah. I had a look at the to qualify odds to see if was there any slim chance that I could remortgage my house and maybe use that money maybe to make a tenner or something from it. But no, it's 1. Arsenal to qualify is exactly 1. So there's no chance that PSV are going through. Arsenal win, I like the look of 143 that they could win it here again. But I think this will be a low scoring affair compared to the first game, despite 8 goals happening in the first game. The 4 games that Arsenal played before that 7-1 all had 2 goals or fewer in them, and all were both teams to score no. So I think this could be a low-scoring game, as Feyenoord look to kind of make sure that they don't get annihilated again. So total goals under 2.75 is where I see value in this one.
Well, most of the bookies have not opened the market, actually, to qualify. It's not on the cards. Alain?
Yes, me too. I choose the over 2.75 goals because it's a friendly game, and a friendly game normally we saw goal is the good moment for Arsenal to work about the finalization, because in Premier there are problem with finalization, and probably in the last months was the limit of Arsenal. We said that the last week before the game, Arsenal was really favorite, and Arsenal is not the problem of the team don't create. The team creates. The problem is the finalization. And in PSV, the team was really really upset and passed his nerve in the poor PSV defense. I see goals. I choose over 2.75 goals. Odds 1.98.
Okay, nothing here to play for, indeed. 𝐬𝐵𝐻𝐿, skip for me. I think it's going to be a boring game for 𝗵𝐻𝐻 under 3.5 goals. Probably Arsenal playing with the academy players. After the draw against Man United, there will be best things to come for the Gunners. Well, this is it for the last 16 round. 8 great games we have this weekend. Remember that you can post your tips in Oddspedia and win some cash prizes, or create your own tipster competition thanks to Rivals. There you go, all the tipster competitions that we have. And as always, we want to give you some options for your bets. Safe bet, Alain Valnegri.
Lille Dortmund over 1.75 goals, odds 1.32.
Ronan?
And go for an Arsenal win.
That cannot be safer, seeing what happened in Eindhoven. And the ACCA, Ronan?
Barcelona, Benfica, both teams to score. Leverkusen, Bayern, both teams to score. And Arsenal to win for 371.
Alain?
Liverpool, PSG, both teams to score. Bayern over 1.75 goals. Arsenal, PSV over 1.75 goals. And Aston Villa, Bruges winning with handicap +2 odds 3.60.
Well, there you go, guys. Tell me in the comments who are you backing this week. Thank you, Alain. Thank you, Ronan. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.